Bella Vista Community Television presents Let's Talk About It. Today our hosts are J.B. Portillo and Kristy Snider, and we will be talking about Terpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge. And now, to the studio for our program.
We are back, aren't we?
I know. It's exciting to be here today.
Kristy, we had such a fun time yesterday preparing for this show, didn't we?
Oh my God, we took a field trip, just like high school.
Yes, absolutely. So we, like I was saying earlier, you know, we talk about serious matters, but today we're talking about a fun and serious matter.
That's right.
That's right. We have a couple of incredible guests.
Yes, we do.
You want to introduce them?
I do. So Miranda, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Miranda. I'm the hospitality coordinator at Terpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge, and I'm also third generation at the refuge. So my grandparents and mother founded the refuge in 1992, and that first rescue was 42 big cats that were crammed into 3 cattle trailers and left on the side of the road. Unfortunately, the owner of those animals called my grandparents up and said, if you don't rescue these animals, they're going to die here. So that's really what started the refuge. We had no other choice than to help those animals in need, and there has been a dire need for it ever since.
Okay, so where exactly are you located?
We're located 7 miles south of Eureka Springs, Arkansas on Scenic Highway 23, also known as the Pig Trail. So it's about 10 minutes outside of Eureka Springs, so it's not too far away.
Okay, and then how did Terpentine Creek get its name?
Yeah, so my grandparents named it Terpentine Creek because on our property there's a creek that's going through a Terpentine Holler. So they put 2 and 2 together, I guess, and called it Terpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge.
And you told me an interesting piece of information. Tell me about the Trail of Tears.
Yeah, so Terpentine is on part of the Trail of Tears, so there are some, Indian artifacts and stuff on our property, which it's just a beautiful area. We're so lucky to be in the Ozark Mountains. Yeah, it's like experiencing Africa in the Ozarks at Terpentine Creek with the lions caroling and such. So it's a really special place.
That's true. And then we have Beckie with us today.
Yes, so I'm the education coordinator at Terpentine Creek. And so we see thousands of people on site every year. Kids are the future for these animals. So we do have a saying at Terpentine that is the predators, not pets, and reaching kids at a young age, teaching them what's right and wrong with treatment of animals helps to save the animals for the future in the wild and from the abuse that they go through. And so, as I said, we see thousands of people on site every year. We also go off-site, not with animals, obviously, but with props and things like that. And so just making sure everybody knows that it's important to research a place before going to a place. Know before you go is a big thing.
Right, and these animals, your refuge is for the animals.
Yes, we are 100% for them. They are our number one priority. Everything we do every day is for these animals. We want them to have the best life possible, and they are what we get up every day for.
They are so beautiful. They really are. So, Miranda, tell us who you're what you're all about and your history, and I like that hands-on thing you did a while ago.
Yeah. So Terpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge is a 501c3 nonprofit. We are strictly rescue, so we do not buy, trade, sell, or breed any of our animals. We don't do the close encounters at all with the animals because we're working with apex predators here. So I like to say we're a hands-on facility. We want everyone to leave with their hands on, so no touching of any of the animals.
Right.
And we don't breed at the refuge as well because most of our animals that we rescue come from, these roadside zoos, and they're not purebred animals, so we can never release these animals into the wild. So it would be devastating for the wildlife, and there are not very many tigers and lions left in the wild, unfortunately.
Right.
But we would not want to, cause any other devastation for that. And it's just not fair to these animals to breed them in captivity.
So there has to be an understanding of the difference between a refuge, clear understanding between a refuge and a zoo. There's no petting zoo here. It's not a zoo.
It is not a zoo. We are a true sanctuary. We are an ethical tourism destination. And our main goal is to rescue these animals in need and provide them with a lifetime of quality care. And we could not do that without our supporters and our visitors coming out to the refuge to do guided tours. We actually have guided tours every hour on the hour from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. The last one does go out at 4. And I always recommend, especially to our lodging guests that come and stay at the refuge, to go on the 9 a.m. tour, because if you get there about 15 to 20 minutes before that tour starts, you can watch the behavioral training program, which is where we do health evaluations on these animals every single day, because predators can hide illnesses and weaknesses very easily, or pregnancies, which if we do a rescue, you never know if an animal is going to be pregnant or not from the circumstances before coming to the refuge. So we like to monitor their health, and some of the animals have unfortunately been declawed before coming to the refuge, which is really bad for a cat, even your house cat, because cats walk on their tiptoes. Whenever you declaw them, it's like you removing that first knuckle and you having to learn how to walk on that, like removing all of your toes pretty much. So a lot of them can get arthritis, and we do, quality of life is so important to us. We want them to live out their life as healthy and humane as possible. So it's been quite the adventure the last 30 years. I can't believe we're celebrating 30 years this year.
That makes you...
I'm 30. I'm as old as the refuge. Yes. I wasn't even a year old when my grandparents and mother founded the refuge, when they got that call on the 43 big cats, or 42 big cats that were in those trailers. And we get calls all the time, and every rescue is completely different. We don't know what we're getting into when we go on these rescues. And sometimes we're dealing with people like the Tiger King facilities. I'm not going to name any names or anything like that, but sometimes we're more scared of the people we're dealing with than the animals that we're dealing with.
And you got quite a few from there.
Oh yes, we did. And we're still working through that and just trying to provide these animals with a lifetime of the best quality care we can provide. And it's a super special experience to watch these animals come from, they're living in an 8x12 cage with another tiger, with these breeding male, unfortunately, and then they are scared. We're moving these animals to our sanctuary or to other locations throughout the country, because we work with other true sanctuaries. And during this process, it's just so amazing to see, these animals are scared. They're terrified. They don't know what is happening. They're used to this certain life, and then we take them to the refuge, and they get a large grassy habitat with enrichment every day. They get an underground pool. We're doing a pool project at the refuge, and we have quite a few pools to build, 68 habitats right now, and we want every single one of our animals to be able to go swimming in their pool. So they're spoiled at the refuge. They eat out of silver platters, literally silver platters.
Tell us about these platters. I find this so fascinating.
Yes, they're like the serving dishes. Whenever you go to a banquet, it's like a serving tray.
Right.
And I had a family member that he actually built these very unique trays where we can actually we try to make it as safe as possible, and we try to do feeding as quickly as possible, because we're working with apex predators here. So we don't want to risk life and limb. So what we do is we have these trays, and we have to fill them with every animal has a special diet of what they get every day, how much. We monitor how much they ate that day, but we are able to slide those dishes in, pull the lid off, and put the lid in the back of it so they can't slide that meat tray out. And it's really special to watch these animals go from living a scared life and not realizing that there's more out there,
right,
and then watching them evolve and change and start to chuff and start to realize, oh my gosh, these people are here to give me the best quality of life. It's emotional, actually. Working at the refuge, you can go through every single emotion possible, and it might be in one day.
Yeah.
That's what my mother always says, and it's so true.
Yeah.
Like a raspberry.
We have chuffing competitions at the refuge, so we'll have to do something like that on social media So you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram and all of the social media outlets, but you can also do a virtual tour if you go to our website, terpentinecreek.org. We have an education page that I know Beckie's going to be talking about shortly.
Yeah.
But I did want to mention we are celebrating our 30th anniversary at Terpentine Creek. Actually, on May 1st, it'll be 30 years, and that weekend, the last weekend in April, starting the 29th at 8 a.m., we have an online auction going on, and these are some of the auction items that will be in that auction, and all proceeds go straight back to the care of our animals, and we need all the help we can get. I mean, especially during COVID, we haven't been as busy, and we've been trying to protect the animals because big cats can get COVID-19, and luckily we haven't had any cases at the refuge, but there have been loss of life at other facilities out there, so we're still trying to keep them safe, but we have taken down our mask mandate since we are outdoor location. So, yeah.
So did you want to talk about some of these things now?
Yeah, if we
Okay.
wanted to.
Sure.
Yes. So this is actually a paw painting, and it's done by this handsome tiger named Tommy. And I can pop it up real
Well,
quick.
I think the camera was,
Well, it's
Aimed
not,
on it.
so
Oh.
we can
Okay.
put it on.
yeah.
It's fine. Anyways, but we
Yeah.
have lots of different options. I mean, this is
There we go.
Tommy.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
he's a male white tiger. Unfortunately, Tommy has passed, but we do have a keepsake of a paw print. This is from one of his exams that we did. We only do the paw prints when we are doing an exam.
I
and
was
the
just
animal
going to
is
say, how did you
sedated.
possibly get that?
Yeah, we do more of the painting style ones like this, the paw paintings through the fence. So we,
To the camera.
yeah, so we do these through the fence, and these will actually, you will get a photo of the animal with their paw painting, and then you'll get that animal story. So this was done by Aurora, a female tiger, and it does give you a little bit of her history about where she came from and what she likes to do for fun. But these are very unique, and all proceeds do go back to our animal residents at Terpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge. And you can tune into that online auction. We also have an in-person event going on the 30th. It's Saturday, April 30th at Terpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge. So we're really excited about it because it's our first in-person event really since COVID-19. So we're really excited to get some of our supporters back to the refuge. And if you can't come in person, you can still tune in online.
Absolutely. What is this thing?
Oh my goodness. So this is actually a boomer ball toy. So you see all the drill holes in it. We actually make magnets and keychains for our supporters. After the toy is destroyed, we definitely take it out of the habitat and we drill all these little holes and we make something that our big supporters, if they want to take home a piece of the refuge, they can. And you can see that's a tooth mark. So that was one
Wow.
of their boomer ball toys. These toys are supposed to be indestructible. They are not indestructible. Let me tell you, we do go through toys at the refuge, and you can actually take a piece of one of them home with you. We do, actually our education team, they actually make Christmas ornaments out of these toys, magnets for your fridge, keychains, and then we actually started recently making lamps out of the retired boomer balls,
saw
which are
that.
really
That's pretty cool.
We've made hanging lamps out of them, and this is our first ever standing lamp. And there's actually a picture of Willie the lion in front of this lamp because that was his ball he loved to play with. And then we have some boards that were pretty much scratching posts for them, but it's out of their bench boards. And we have to retire those as well because we don't want them to get a splinter or anything like that. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So I guess they all have different personalities, don't they?
Oh yes, yes, and if you think about it, the big cats are very similar to domestic house cats in the instance that you can be, you could be loving on them, and then in an instant they're gonna change and start biting and clawing at you, and that's why we don't want people to be hands-on with these animals. They are, some of them, 500 plus pounds and are definitely predators. And once they get into that zone, the kill zone when they're eating,
Yeah.
we don't promote feeding at the refuge because we don't want the animals to get worked up because they do get worked up. I mean, they're in the zone eating their meal, and then, you know, sometimes they could throw up their food if someone was gawking over them. I don't want people gawking over me either when I'm eating dinner. So,
Absolutely.
but that makes it. That's why it's so unique to be able to watch the behavioral training, because they do get meat treats for participating in this behavioral training, but we don't force the animals to do anything that they choose not to do. So I think that's what makes it so special, that, you know, if they want to not participate that day, they do not have to participate, but we do entice them with the meat treats. And they usually do want to participate with the meat treats.
Becky, do you do the behavioral training?
So our animal care staff and our animal care interns do the behavioral training, and like Miranda was saying, it does help with medical aspects. So one of my favorite commands that we do is the side command. So they're told side, and they'll put their side up to the fence line, and then they hear the whistle. That's their bridge, so they know the command. And then they get the piece of chicken treat. But the side command helps us with vaccines. So our veterinarian and our animal care staff can give them vaccines through the fence line. The whole goal is to be able to do all this smaller medical care through the fence line without having to sedate for every minor little thing, because that could be stressful on them.
How do you get that started? I mean,
So, actually, our animal care staff worked with some true AZA, true zoos and AZA accredited zoo through the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. So, some local zoo staff from true accredited zoos came up, and they helped do a training program with our animal care staff on how to do this process. And it's just like with training a dog at home. It's a process. And it's all positive reinforcement. So if they do it, great, they do it. If they don't, then that is fine. Some days they hang out in their pool and they look at you like, I don't want to get out of the pool. Sometimes they're like, oh, I would like chicken. So it's totally up to them.
Yeah.
But we can give them their vaccines that way. And you know, something that's really cool is sometimes during that training, they'll get a touch command. So they're told side and hold, and then another team member may touch them through the fence line with a tool, so they're getting used to being touched on the hip. So when it comes time to get the vaccine, it's not terrifying, but all of a sudden they're touched on the hip with something. So
Yeah, they get used to that sensation, so it makes it a lot easier
You
for
guys
us
have thought
and
of
for them.
everything.
everything to help these animals.
We're learning every day still. Yeah, you know, the last 30 years, I felt like we've learned so much and have grown so much, but we're still constantly evolving and changing and growing and learning. And we're thankful for our education department. They do a great job of, you know, getting the word out about our mission and what we do, and the animal stories, which is so important because they each have their own story.
Yeah, because they've all come from somewhere else.
That's right.
what's your favorite story? What's the one you like to tell about? Either good or bad, just that tells who you are.
So you know, all the stories are very, very important. And for me, telling the story and getting people to realize how horrible the cub petting industry is.
Yeah.
So a story that I really tell, I don't love to tell because it's a horrible, sad story, but one that makes people think, is at these pseudo facilities, they do speed breed. So we have a tiger named Mama Shakira, we name her Mama for short, in Bosco. They came from a pseudo facility out of Colorado. Mama had 4 litters of cubs in the time frame it takes to have one naturally. So what they do is they speed breed. As soon as she has the babies, they're stripped from her. And then her body feels like they've passed, so then she'll go back in and rebreed. Then it is equivalent to having about a month-old infant and going into, let's say, a Target, a Walmart, any other store. And you pass this infant around to everybody you see all day long, every day, until they're about 3 months old. That is what happens to these animals. They're passed around so people can take pictures with them, play with them, swim with them. The thing is, they're not being fed right because they purposely keep them smaller so that they can make more money off of them. Because it's age or weight, whichever comes first with the cubs on when they're no longer allowed to be held. So they're not fed right, they're not developing right, their bones are really weak, and being passed around from person to person to person, they can end up with fractures. We have rescued cubs. 3 of the tiger cubs we rescued from the Colorado Rescue could not walk. They were dragging their back legs. And you know, they had very special dietary needs and everything like that. They're able to run and play now.
Yeah.
But they should have never went through that for a photo.
And that took a lot of rehab.
It did. And we have 3 new recent cubs as well. From a rescue, we worked with the Department of Justice last year to rescue cats from the Tiger King Park Zoo. Priscilla was pregnant. We were informed that some of the females may be pregnant when we got to the facility. And predators are really good. Tigers are really good at hiding that pregnancy until right before they have the babies for predator reasons. And Priscilla was pregnant. So our team, she looked like she was about to pump. Our team put a camera in her den and observed, and sure enough, she had the 3 babies. Well, it wasn't long after having them that our vet and our animal care staff noticed something wasn't quite right with them. They were dragging those back legs really bad. They were twisted. Basically, it is called like club feet, twisted leg. It's not just the leg, basically. It has to do with the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments, everything. So it was pretty evident pretty quick that we had to do something fast and rigorous because that would lead to a quality of life issue for them. So what our team would do is they would our senior staff would lock Priscilla in one area of her habitat. They would go in and take the 3 babies down to the vet hospital, and we would do a warm water massage with them, and then muscle movements, making those legs sit like a tiger, walk like a tiger, basically getting those muscles and those tendons and ligaments to do the right movements. Then we would put stents on them, take them back to mom, do it all over again. We did this twice a day for 4 months. Now keep in mind, these cats as babies have knives in those mouths. They do not want to be held. They're a tiger. That instinct is there to attack and to kill. We were having to put muzzles on them toward the end because they were trying to bite.
And they were getting bigger.
They were getting bigger, and keep in mind that this time frame is still the time when people are allowed to interact with these cubs at fake facilities. And so telling those stories and making people realize this is what happens. The animals can get hurt, they can get sick, you can get hurt, you can get sick, and these fake facilities allow everyone, doesn't matter the age, to interact with these animals.
Wow.
And there is no way that that is what should happen.
Right.
And the problem is that they are lucky if they live 100 days, and this cub petting industry fuels the pet industry, because once they reach that weight age limit, they're no longer allowed to be held because they get very large. So then they're either sold to the pet trade, entertainment industry, hunting ranches, where that's simply all they're viewed as. They are kept for breeding at the pseudo facilities like Mama Bosco where, or they're simply sold for their parts. They are lucky to live 100 days.
For their parts? What does that mean?
So, for example, tiger bone wine is a real thing.
What?
They feel
No.
like there's healing power with crushed
did you
tiger
find
bone.
that?
So there's lots of places around the world that sell things like that. And the problem is, we're here in the United States. We focus obviously on the United States and all the industry here. But it's not just the United States industry. It is a global industry. There are more tigers living in someone's backyard in the United States than in the wild. There are less than 4,000 tigers remaining in the wild. But there are around 7,000 to 10,000 in the United States, most in someone's backyard in a fake zoo.
And that's not proper breeding technique.
No, or proper health care,
Right.
or proper vet care. And so it's a problem because it's not federally against the law. It is state by state. There are some states you can own certain animals, some you can't. Some it's by permit. That might cost maybe $100 a year, maybe. Then there are some where it's against the law, but they're grandfathered in, so it's all over the place. Our law in Arkansas changed after a man had a pet tiger named India. He no longer wanted her. He drove her out to the Buffalo National River area, and he let her out in the woods where people are hiking and camping.
Yeah, I'm going there next month.
Yeah, she smelled
What
her
do I
way.
need to look for?
Yeah, she smelled her way back to him, you guys, over 60 miles away because that's where food came from. It doesn't matter if they're hand raised; they're still going to attack.
They didn't have a tiger sighting?
Not that we have
Not
heard
that
of.
anyone
60
reported.
miles?
Not that anyone
Well,
reported.
probably you saw it and you'd be like, that can't be what I think it
Exactly,
is.
exactly. And the whole scary thing is that she did track her way back that far of a distance. And then he brought her here to Terpentine and told our team what he did. And the thing is they're taught by their moms how to be that animal. So yeah, the instinct is there to hunt, to kill, but the full survival is a taught trait. So this is one reason why they can't be released back out in the wild.
No.
They're habituated. And also their genetics are impure. Most of them, like Miranda said, come to us declawed, canine sawed down, all kinds of issues. So there is a bill that's trying to get passed. It's called the Big Cat Public Safety Act that would make it illegal on owning them as pets and the cub petting. There would be some stipulations and everything like that with that. And so people can help with that. If you visit our website, terpentinecreek.org, you can click on our advocacy tab, and it's just a tab, type in some of your info. And it will set up an email for your senator and congressman.
So we're talking federal or state or both?
It would be a federal law. And
Okay.
so it would be something that would encompass to help stop the abuse that these animals go through, because we love these animals with our whole heart, but it is not fair to them. They should have not have started their life with abuse that they started with.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So what is this in front of you?
Yeah, so this is not real, but this is the size of a tiger's skull. So it is a replica skull. So as you can kind of see with the teeth here, they do have about a 3-inch canine. So this is why we say predators, not pets. You guys, tigers can weigh from about 300 to 600 pounds naturally. And the fact that people try to keep them as pets is just terrifying. And these pseudo facilities tell people that if they're hand raised, they're safe to be around. Their instinct is still there to attack. They are simply a predator, not a pet.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if it's a tiger, a lion, a leopard, a cougar.
That was
you never
Siegfried
know.
and Roy, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great
I mean,
example of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Siegfried and Roy.
And we love them with our whole heart. And they're spoiled. They have birthday parties. They all get Christmas presents, Valentine's presents, you name it. But they, in the end of the day, they are a predator for sure. And, we've rescued all kinds of animals from all kinds of situations inside basements, backyards, frat houses. Our grizzly bear, Bam Bam, was a pet in a barn. He is the ham of the refuge for sure. He is a lot of fun to watch, but he was a pet, a grizzly bear. And nothing about that is okay.
Yeah.
And he probably, who knows if he even saw the light of day, let alone walked out on grass before coming to Terpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge. That's the reality for most of these animals. They're living in horrible conditions, tiny enclosures, if even an enclosure,
Yeah.
Sometimes they're in people's, apartment complexes in New York City, and living in a room because their owner is scared of their cougar or tiger, and every rescue is different. We keep thinking we've seen it all, and the next rescue is going to be completely different. So,
and when they get to the refuge, you learn their personalities real quick. They all have their own personalities. And there was a couple of our cats a few weeks ago. So Ungawa and Glacier. Ungawa was wanting to lay down where Glacier was napping. So my tour watched her. She licked him on the forehead. He got up and moved, and she laid down in his exact spot. So they've got that personality.
So she didn't swat him.
No, she licked him. She was giving him a bath on the forehead. And then he got up and kind of stretched and moved, and she laid down automatically in his leaf pile. So they love their leaf piles. They have all kinds of toys, as Miranda was saying, from Christmas trees, pumpkins, watermelons.
I saw toys all
it.
over the enclosures.
Oh yeah, and
It's to keep them mentally and physically active because
Yeah.
it can't be back out in the wild, so it's enrichment. And
And
so
their cages their pens, what do you call them?
Habitats.
Habitats are huge.
yeah, and we try to keep them very natural. And like in the fall, we do, rake up the leaf piles. They love laying in their leaf piles. But we try to do enrichment every day at the refuge. We actually offer big cat call-outs. So no matter where you are in the world, you can actually purchase one of these on our website. And, during COVID, we had a lot of, poor high school students and college students that didn't get to walk across the stage. So we had people buying big cat call-outs to congratulate the class of 2001, or 2000. It's just a special experience. You can do a birthday call out. You can do, will you marry me? We've had that at the refuge, and she said yes, which is great. But yeah, it's a whole different type of enrichment that you can actually provide for the animals. And we actually, if you wanted to donate, if you're doing some spring cleaning this spring, you can donate cardboard boxes, toilet paper rolls, paper towel rolls,
Really?
perfumes, herbs and spices.
Explain what you do with the perfumes.
Yeah,
'cause
really.
I thought that was
Oh,
interesting.
well, we spritz their toys. We might spritz like their boomer balls. We hide and move around their toys in their enclosure. And with the bears, we actually do scatter feeding because we want to get them off their bear bums. So we try to do scatter feeding through their enclosures to get them up and moving around, especially after winter time because they've been pretty sessile since the winter. But
Right.
they don't go into a full hibernation mode in our area.
And those habitats, we learned,
Right.
were heated for the
dens.
lions.
Yeah, the dens. So their habitats are set up in a couple different areas. They have their grassy habitat area, and then they have their night house, and then they have their den. So the way we clean is we can lock them into, let's say, the night house area while we're in the grassy habitat. We can open and close their doors from the outside, from the safe zone. We never put our hands on the fence, no knees on the ground. You never turn your back right to the fence. You take 2 steps back and then you turn around. You have to be strict with safety. So yes, those dens are heated for all those African animals with our winter that we have here. The other dens with the tigers, for example, tigers love the cooler weather, but we do put mulch and other warmth in there as well. And their dens are actually septic tanks that are like made and created for us for these cats.
So then they're not
extra
septic
insulated.
tanks anymore.
Nope, nope, they're actually like insulated and really well for the cats. So.
And you said tigers like the rain.
Tigers do like the rain. They do. The lions, sometimes you may see the lions out. Sometimes you might hear them. They do carol out, and you can hear them up to 5 miles away. They will do that with barometric pressure changes, too. So sometimes on rainy days, you hear the lions. The tigers are usually running around in the rain or just napping in the rain as it's falling down. And then sometimes you may see the lion just sitting there getting rained on like, I don't know about this, but they're sitting right outside, close enough to be outside, but close enough to be the door at their den. The tigers do like the rain, though.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of the lions and them caroling and roaring, I wanted to bring up lodging. You can actually come and stay with us at Terpentine Creek and experience Africa and the Ozarks. And right at Terpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge, we have 10 lodging accommodations and 6 RV sites. So
Yes, tell us a little bit about those, because you have this, we're going to go
Right.
to stay in the
I know, right?
treehouse.
We're
We're going to do
excited.
that, and you have different sorts of...
Oh yeah, so we have our 5 Zulu Safari Lodges. These rooms are adults only, and they really give you that Africa feeling. They're all named after locations or regions in Africa. We have the Congo, the Okavango, and they're all themed to that region, so they're all unique in their own way. And then our most popular suite at the refuge is the Siberian suite, which you actually have a habitat right outside the window. And currently we have Fergie, a female liger, in that enclosure, and she's so fun, and she's our welcome committee whenever we do have lodging guests come up to the refuge. And you guys are going to be staying in the treehouse bungalow.
We are.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Oh, we're so excited to have you out at the refuge
I
again.
know. I'm thinking that, no sleep will be had that night.
It's a possibility.
That'll be
Bring
really
some
cool.
earbuds if you need.
No.
Okay.
I want to bring as many recording devices.
Okay,
as I
yes.
can. So let me ask you real quick, what about the outside wildlife? Are they scared to death to even come close? Like squirrels, do you even have squirrels?
We have a lot of squirrels, we have a lot of deer on site, and a lot of the local farmers, they actually request us to keep some of the animal feces, the tiger and lion feces, because they think that if they put it in their garden beds that it will deter the deer and stuff, but it does not. We have deer all over the place, we have, lots of rodents that come up, and I don't think they're very scared of the animals, but it is something different for them. I'm sure they're not used to hearing lions caroling and chuffs in the distance, so.
We kind of need to wrap it up. So if there were some last words, let's go over, of course, your event, but what message would you like to get out today to this audience?
My message is to please research a place before you visit a place. If it is a facility that is telling you can go in and pet tigers, bears, lions, whatever it may be, and these big predators, they're not a real place. We are accredited through GFAS, the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries. No true sanctuary will breed. No true sanctuary is going to have those cubs for you to pet. No real zoo is going to have cubs for you to pet. The pseudo facilities do. So it is okay to be nosy and ask questions. Call them and ask, do you allow cub petting? Do your animals have the ability to get in and out of the view of the public if they want? Ask questions for your safety and for them. One last quick thing with that is there was a pseudo facility in Branson, Missouri that allowed a young teenage volunteer to go in a facility with some tigers. He went in, he tripped, he fell, they attacked. He is alive, but he is paralyzed. Had he lost his life, they would have lost theirs too. So please know before you go and ask those questions.
Excellent.
Very well said. Good
Yes.
job. Yeah. And please come out and visit. We're open every day except for Christmas Day. We have guided tours hourly from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. So get there a little bit before the tour and check us out on our website, terpentinecreek.org.
Absolutely. Well,
I'm looking forward to it.
I know.
I'm going to
can't
have
wait.
to get, the outfit.
Oh, I know.
It's like, I don't even want to know what I need to wear. I'll just wear the outfit.
We'll take you on a good tour when you come out to the refuge. We'll get you behind the scenes a little bit.
That
That'd be
nice.
great.
Yeah.
I know
That'd be
my husband and I visited several years ago now in the winter, and it was so cold.
Oh, yeah.
So we still have I have the bear little head
yeah.
with the paw
Love.
things and the tiger thing. I almost brought him today, but there's too much.
Oh,
It would
sorry.
have been too much.
She wore it for Halloween.
There you go.
I did.
Good.
It was fun. Oh, this is so
you
much
so
fun.
much, and
Thank
thank
you,
you
and I'm so
for-
glad to meet you. I believe that when things are supposed to happen, they do. And Cheryl and I talked several months ago, and I'm so glad that we finally made this happen. And in future, just know that you're always welcome to. We can make announcements for you, etc. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But this
And we
is
really want you to have a successful 30-year.
yes.
Yeah.
That's
We're
right.
looking forward to it. We're just excited to be able to meet in person again, you know, and we need all the funding and help we can get.
Yes.
They're
for
expensive
sure.
creatures.
That's
are.
right.
They are. Okay, well,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Bella Vista, and thank you again to our guests. And go out, go visit, go do it now. I think you're already booked up for the 30th, if I understand correctly. But you know,
Getting there.
that's not the only time.
Nope.
That's
Yeah,
right.
every day but Christmas.
Yep. This is true.
Rain or shine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Bella Vista. We'll see you next month.